see the preview of the program?
I would just go back and
They sent it, did you see the preview of the program? It looks pretty good.
About the restaurant?
This, right there, that one,
Oh, no, I did not see that.
yeah. It looks good.
Yeah,
I did.
you would?
I had somebody call.
Call about it. Tanya said that they kind of, another officer's gonna be coming in. I think the owner's gonna sell the building probably to another restaurant. That may be true, I don't know. Kim, do we have any speakers?
Yes.
Do I have it?
Yes, sir. No.
Okay, we're ready to go. I want to welcome everybody to the October 1st meeting of the Abingdon Town Council, and thank you all for your attendance. We appreciate you. We don't have a very big crowd tonight, and we've had a lot of crowds, big crowds recently, and to tell you the truth, it might be a good little break for us. I don't know. Kim, call a roll, please.
Mr. Bradley.
Here.
Ms. Quetch. Here. Mr. Webb.
Here.
Ms. Patterson.
Here.
Mayor Craig.
Here. Ms. Quetch will lead us in the pledge to the flag.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is public comments, and we don't have any. The next item is the minutes. Council, do you have any corrections to the minutes? If you don't, we'll take them both up at the same time.
Mayor Craig, I move that if there's no changes or corrections, that we go ahead and approve those minutes.
I hate to interject, but I did find two small typos.
Okay.
On September the 3rd, regular council meeting, page 143, it looks like I have, on the roll call, it looks like I have ayes instead of I. So I just take that S off there.
Ayes?
Ayes instead of I.
Oh.
So, right. So I take that one off of there. And then on page 146, Mr. Webb with one of these.
Oh, my
Just,
goodness.
You know, I know it's picky, but
I'll tell you the truth.
We could have had a sidebar for that, you know.
Thank you, Greg. I'm just kidding with you. Cindy, you want to make your motion?
Yes, with those corrections, Mayor Craig, I move that we approve as corrected.
I'll
Okay,
second it.
Approval by, a motion by Ms. Patterson, or Vice Mayor Patterson, to approve the September 3rd and the September 18th, 2019 regular meeting and work session. Second by Mr. Bradley. Any discussion? Kim, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bradley.
Aye.
Ms. Quetch.
Aye.
Mr. Webb.
Aye.
Ms. Patterson.
Aye.
And Mayor Craig.
Aye. The next item on the agenda, we have two proclamations. The first proclamation is October the 6th to 12th, 2019 is Fire Prevention Week. Ms. Quetch is going to read us the proclamation.
Yes, this proclamation is recognizing October 6th to the 12th, 2019 as Fire Prevention Week. Not every hero wears a cape. Plan and practice your escape. Whereas the town of Abingdon is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Abingdon, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at the greatest risk from fire, and whereas home fires killed 2,630 people in the United States in 2017, according to the National Fire Protection Association, and fire departments in the United States responded to 357,000 fires. And whereas the majority of the U.S. fire deaths, 4 out of 5, occur at homes each year, and whereas the fire death rate per 1,000 home fires reported in the U.S. Fire Department was 4% higher in 2017 than in 1980. And whereas when the smoke alarm sounds, residents may have less than 2 minutes to escape to safety. And whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas residents should make a home escape plan, drawing a map of each level of the home showing all doors and windows. And whereas residents should practice the home fire escape plan with everyone in the household, including visitors. And whereas residents should practice the home fire escape drill at least twice a year during the day and at night. And whereas residents should teach children to escape on their own in case adults can't help them. And whereas residents should make sure everyone in the home knows how to call 911 or the local emergency number from a cell phone or a neighbor's phone. And whereas residents should practice using different ways out. And whereas residents in a real emergency should get low and go under the smoke to get out quickly. And whereas residents should get out and stay out, never going back inside the home for people, pets, or things. And whereas residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take action to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas the 2019 Fire Prevention Week theme, "Not Every Hero Wears a Cape, Plan and Practice Your Escape," effectively serves to remind us that we need to take personal steps to increase our safety from fire. Now therefore, the Mayor, I, J. Wayne Craig, Mayor, do hereby proclaim October 6th through the 12th, 2019 as Fire Prevention Week throughout this town. And I urge all the people of Abingdon to be aware of their surroundings. Look for available ways out in the event of a fire or other emergency. Respond when the smoke alarm sounds by exiting the building immediately, and to support the many public safety activities and efforts of fire and emergency services during Fire Prevention Week 2019.
Thank you, Donna. I understand we have a photo opportunity here.
Gentlemen, you will come forth.
Yes, he is.
It's a big old chair.
Everybody looking forward, count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
For what you did.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
You're our hero.
Thank you very
Bless you,
much.
John. Thank you.
You're our hero.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another proclamation, October 2019, as Community Planning Month. Mr. Bradley will read that now.
Proclamation designating October 2019 as Community Planning Month. Whereas changes in economic and population growth affect all Virginia cities, counties, and towns, and whereas community planning and plans can help manage these changes in a way that provides better choices for how people work and live, and whereas community planning provides an opportunity for all residents to be meaningfully involved in the decisions that determine the future of their community, and whereas the full benefits of planning requires public officials and citizens who understand, support, and demand excellence in planning and plan implementation, and whereas the month of October is designated as National Community Planning Month throughout the United States of America and its territories, and whereas the American Planning Association and its professional institute, the American Institute of Certified Planners, endorsed National Community Planning Month as an opportunity to highlight the contributions that sound planning and plan implementation make to the quality of our settlements and environment. And whereas Community Planning Month is an opportunity to recognize the Commonwealth's planning commissions and citizen planners who have contributed their time and expertise to the improvement of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and whereas Virginia also recognizes the many valuable contributions made by professional community and regional planners of the Commonwealth and extends our heartfelt thanks in their continued for their continued commitment to public service. Now therefore, Mayor J. Wade Craig does hereby recognize October 2019 as Community Planning Month with the town of Abingdon, and I call this observance to the attention of our citizens.
Thank you, Al. The next item on the agenda are resolutions. We have three. The first one is a resolution authorizing the issuance of a general obligation refunding bond in a principal amount not to exceed $7,500,000. Mr. Morani.
Yes, this, as David Rose presented at the last council meeting and previous committee meetings, this essentially just authorizes the town to close on the direct bank loan in an amount not to exceed $7,500,000. And just to remind everybody, the term we have, it shall not exceed 25 years. And currently, the low bid was from Sterling National Bank, and it was 2.89% was the interest rate. So just seeking a motion to approve this.
Okay, council, what's your pleasure on the issuance of the general obligation bond in the amount of $7,500,000?
Move we do it.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Bradley to approve the resolution, second by Vice Mayor Patterson. Any discussion? Kim, call roll, please.
Mr. Bradley?
Aye.
Ms. Quetch?
Aye.
Mr. Webb?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson?
Aye.
Mayor Craig?
Aye. The next item on the agenda is a resolution accepting the final plat for the Washington Crossing to subdivide the property into two parcels. Mr. Spangler's here. I got Mr. Boswell's going to take care of it. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Craig, and all the council. This agenda item is in consideration of approval of the final plat for a proposed subdivision of property from Marathon Realty Corporation. The property is located at 510 Cumming Street, commonly known as Washington Crossings. It consists of 11.55 acres, more or less, and is currently zoned B2 General Business District, tax map ID 105A-2-16. The proposed subdivision consists of two parcels, the first containing 8.32 acres more or less, and the second containing 3.22 acres more or less. The Planning Commission unanimously approved the final plat at the September 23rd meeting, and the Planning Commission submitted a recommendation to the council for approval of the final plat.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, council, the Planning Commission has recommended approval of the plat. What's your pleasure on the matter?
I move we approve it.
Before we vote, I'd just like to note that I have a personal interest in this transaction pursuant to Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3112A1. I disqualify myself from participating in agenda item G2, resolution accepting final plat for Washington Crossings to subdivide subject property into two parcels. Marathon Realty Corp. I am employed, as well as my wife, with KVAT Food Stores Incorporated at 1 Food City Circle, Abingdon, Virginia, which is an affiliated company of the applicant, and our salaries derived from said employment may reasonably be expected to exceed $5,000.
Okay, thank you. Motion by Mr. Bradley,
I'll second that.
second by Ms. Quetch. Any discussion? Kim, call roll, please.
Mr. Bradley?
Aye.
Ms. Quetch?
Aye.
Mr. Webb?
Abstain.
Ms. Patterson?
Aye.
Mayor Craig?
Aye. We have an item on the agenda to submit an application to VDOT. I understand there's a reason to hold up on that, so with council's permission, we'll delete that from the agenda. Is that okay with everyone? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Moving along, we have the first reading of a public hearing pursuant to Code of Virginia 1950 as amended section 15.2-2204, the Code of Abingdon, Virginia, Appendix B, zoning ordinance, Article 25. Uses not provided for. We need, as I recall, that that item, it's a deletion of Article 17.4. We've discussed this in a work session, maybe a couple of times. This is the first reading, we won't take any action on it, but I'd like to know from council, the question, shall the proposed amendment be rejected? Is there anyone who wants it to be rejected? By that, I mean the recommendation that it be rejected.
Repeal.
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 This is kind of confusing, I'm sorry.
Our code requires on
Can
the
you,
first.
can you
Yes,
explain
sir.
this, Cameron?
Yes, sir. On the first reading of an ordinance, our charter says that at the first reading, the mayor shall read, shall this proposal be rejected? So the question is, shall the repeal of 17-4 be rejected?
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I take the silence to be, no one wants it to be rejected.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we have 2 second readings, a public hearing, second reading of the ordinance pursuant to code 1950 as amended, section 15.2-2202, a consideration of an ordinance of the Council of Abingdon, Virginia to enact an infrastructure advisory committee, chapter 62, streets, sidewalks, and other public places, article 6, section 62-108. We have likewise discussed this on a couple of occasions. I'll declare the public hearing open. If we have any speakers, I'd like for you to come forward and state your name and address. Do we have any speakers on creation of an infrastructure committee? Okay, hearing none, declare the public hearing closed. Council, what's your pleasure on the matter?
I would move that we create the infrastructure committee.
Motion by Mr. Bradley to create the infrastructure committee.
And I'll second that.
Second by Vice Mayor Patterson. Is there any discussion?
I would just like to let the public know that the infrastructure committee came about because of a suggestion of Mayor Craig, and I think it's an excellent opportunity for people to come on and on the committee and help with suggestions for infrastructure in the town of Abingdon. So I want to thank you, Mayor Craig, for bringing this to the town of Abingdon.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure to serve on that committee, and I think they've done some very good things. Okay, Kim, call roll, please.
Mr. Bradley.
Aye.
Ms. Quetch.
Aye.
Mr. Webb.
Aye.
Ms. Patterson.
Aye.
Mayor Craig.
The next public hearing is the second reading of an ordinance pursuant to Code of Virginia 1950 as amended, section 15.2-2204, and the Code of the Town of Abingdon, Appendix B, zoning ordinance, Article 25, amendments, administration and interpretation, consideration of an ordinance of the Council of the Town of Abingdon to amend the zoning ordinance, Article 18, site plan review, section 18.9, historic district corridor, entrance corridor overlay district. I declare the public hearing open. If there's anybody from the public present, please come forward and state your name and address. And please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Anybody want to speak on that matter? One more time, any speakers? Okay, I declare the public hearing closed. Council, what's your pleasure on that matter?
The planning commission has been over and over this, and we think it's now tuned to where it should be. And it will take out some conflicts in the ordinance that were built into the ordinance. It will also reduce the size of the area. So it should make it easier for businesses.
As I understand it, Al, you're on the planning commission, and as I understand it, the ordinance was in conflict with state law, and this is
Right.
an attempt to get our ordinance into conformity with state law. So what's your pleasure?
Therefore, I would move that we follow the recommendation of the planning commission and approve it.
And I will second that.
Motion by Mr. Bradley to approve the amendment to the ordinance, second by Vice Mayor Patterson. Any discussion? Okay, Kim, call roll, please.
Mr. Bradley.
Aye.
Ms. Quetch.
Aye.
Mr. Webb.
Aye.
Ms. Patterson.
Aye.
Mayor Craig.
Aye.
Mayor Craig, for the H1, I think technically there should have been a public hearing at the beginning of that first reading, so.
I thought that's what we did.
I don't think that you declared the public hearing open and asked if people did
Yeah,
it.
I thought I did. Did I not?
No, we were conversing with the council on whether or not the proposal should
Oh,
be
okay,
rejected.
I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Boy, I messed that one up big time, didn't I? Okay, I'll declare a public hearing open on the amendment to the zoning ordinance. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on the matter? Please come forward.
This is agenda item H1.
Okay, no one desires to speak, so I declare the public hearing closed. And we've already done the rest of what we need to do, so.
Why don't you do it again?
Can
just
I
to-
move on again?
Let's read that statement if anyone should be rejected, so we have it in the
You
proper
want me to
order.
read it again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, council, shall the proposal be rejected? Am I supposed to do that before we close the public hearing? This is just new to me, okay.
No, sir.
Thank you.
All good. Thank you.
Okay,
This doesn't come up every day.
the next item on the agenda is consideration of bids, authorization to award contract for on-call engineering services. Paula Bitzel is here.
Thank you, Mayor Craig, council. I'll briefly explain the reason for this. So staff has felt for some time the burden of going through the entire procurement policy for any type of professional service, even on a small level. And we found need that on certain town projects or things that we want to do in-house and or have a second opinion for plan review or something like that, the amount of time that it takes to secure that work through procurement. So what we found is that we were able to put out an RFP for an on-call service. And so that is what we did. On September the 2nd, we put out a request for proposal for general engineering and architectural services, and that included architectural, general civil engineering, traffic and transportation services, and wastewater treatment and sewer collection engineering services. We had a total of 11 proposals that were received. And at this time, only the competing firms for the general civil and the transportation and traffic services have been reviewed and scored. We have ongoing review for the architectural and the wastewater. It is our intent to award multiple contracts for each category listed in the RFP to balance workflow and eliminate any potential conflicts of interest if we have a firm that has also worked on some other project that we want them to review. So we have the following firms for general engineering service as selected by the review committee: Thompson Litton and the Lane Group, and the review committee selected for transportation and traffic services A. Morton Thomas, Thompson Litton, and Rummel, Clipper, and Call, which is RK&K.
Okay, council, any questions? Before we do anything, I want to let you know that my son works for Byron and Craig Engineers, and they have committed, they're not selected here, but they have submitted on this work. So I need to abstain to avoid the appearance of any conflict of interest in voting on any of this matter. What's your pleasure? We need a motion to authorize the town manager to enter into competitive negotiations with the recommended firms, if that's what you want to do.
All right, well, I'll make a motion, do it all at one. Let's do each individually. Okay. I guess the first motion will be to authorize the town manager to enter into competitive negotiation with Thompson and Litton for general civil engineering on-call services and execute an agreement for said services.
Is there a
I'll second that.
Second by Ms. Quetch. Any discussion? Kim, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bradley.
Aye.
Ms. Quetch.
Aye.
Mr. Webb.
Aye.
Ms. Patterson.
Aye.
And Mayor Craig.
Aye.
And then the next motion would be to authorize the town manager to enter into competitive negotiation with the Lane Group for general engineering, general civil engineering on-call services and execute an agreement for said services.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Webb, second by Ms. Quetch. Any discussion? Kim, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bradley.
Aye.
Ms. Quetch.
Aye.
Mr. Webb.
Aye.
Ms. Patterson.
Aye.
And Mayor Craig.
I abstain. Kim, my first vote was an abstention. I'm sorry.
And then I'd also like to make a motion to authorize the town manager to enter into competitive negotiation with A. Morton Thomas for transportation and traffic engineering on-call services and execute an agreement for said services.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Webb, second by Ms. Quetch. Any discussion? Kim, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bradley.
Aye.
Ms. Quetch.
Aye.
Mr. Webb.
Aye.
Ms. Patterson.
Aye.
And Mayor Craig.
Abstain.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the town manager to enter into competitive negotiation with Thompson and Litton for transportation and traffic engineering on-call services and execute an agreement for said services.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Webb, second by Ms. Quetch. Any discussion? Kim, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bradley.
Aye.
Ms. Quetch.
Aye.
Mr. Webb.
Aye.
Ms. Patterson.
Aye.
Mayor Craig.
Abstain.
And last but not least, I'd also like to make a motion to authorize the town manager to enter into competitive negotiation with Rummel, Klepper, and Call for transportation and traffic engineering on-call services and execute an agreement for said services.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Webb, second by Ms. Quetch. Any discussion? Kim, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bradley.
Aye.
Ms. Quetch.
Aye.
Mr. Webb.
Aye.
Ms. Patterson.
Aye.
Mayor Craig.
Abstain. Okay, thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is reports from the town manager and staff.
Mr. Mayor, I do have an update on something that people were dying to know about.
All right? We don't want anybody to die.
No, I should rephrase that. They're very anxious to know about it. As you know, that we're about to undergo our fall paving project. And in conjunction with that, we are going to be doing the long-awaited Church Street, College Street, one-way reconfiguration project. We just got word today, hot off the press. October 7th, which is next Monday, that is when the contractor W&L will commence work on that project. It should last about a week.
Yeah, it's night work.
It is night work, that's a good point. We did ask the contractor to do this at night to alleviate any traffic issues during the day. So we also, in conjunction with this, are going to have the parking lot and the rear paved, as well as the plum alley work that was done for the utility location as well. So we are going to be doing some notification to the property owners. Staff will do that, and we'll do some public notices and put it out there on social media to make sure. And I think we're going to have some signage. Are we gonna put, or is that required for the contractor to do? Are we gonna put some signage up,
We're gonna try to,
or put one of those message boards? Why don't you explain what we're doing?
we're gonna try to put up some signage as they, are nearing completion that says new traffic patterns ahead to try to notify people. We'll go ahead and have the one-way and do not enter signs placed and then bagged, and then the minute that they have it striped and complete, we'll pull those, and then the new traffic pattern will be in place. And that should happen probably in the evening, one evening, and then the next day will be operational.
Good. I have a question. Are we going to put this on our website, the diagram or something, so that people know the upcoming one-way pattern? Is that going to be done during the week? Or?
We certainly can, yeah, we were waiting on a date we got it about 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm just asking.
Yeah, we have a sketch, we can put that on the website.
I think that would be a good idea to, if that's,
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we'll do that in the morning.
okay.
And just to let the public know as well, we discussed bus parking in front of the town hall and over next to the next house over here.
Yeah, in front of Cary Street and Partners, and then in front of Town Hall will be, it's not bus parking, it's loading and unloading.
Loading and
zones.
unloading, right.
And those will not be limited, so they'll, hopefully they'll be open for buses, but, obviously, if somebody at Cary Street Partners needed to unload something, they could utilize that space, but you can't park there, so it should be open at all times for buses to load and unload, and in addition, we've added some parking, parallel parking on College. I think overall it's about 12 more spaces in this area for on-street parking.
It's about 30-minute offload and unload and onload now, 30-minute.
We can put a time limit on it. We typically don't, just because if it's not active, that person shouldn't be there. But yeah, we kind of want to leave it open because if the bus needs to sit idle for more than 30 minutes, then we'd like to give them the opportunity to unload as long as they need to.
Mhm. The other question I have is, we talked about not putting them right on the corner because it impedes the vision of the people that are traveling from College Street to turn right when the buses are parked there. So we're gonna spread that, we originally had said we were gonna spread them back further, like
We put in
more
a
toward the
taper on both
border.
sides. Yeah, we put in a taper on both sides to try to extend the point at which the bus will be, the end of the bus will be on either side. We try to create as much room as we can at the intersection.
Okay, we'll just clarify that for the public, okay?
And other information, I think we need to clarify also, I don't know about the rest of the council members, but I've received more complaints about paving than probably anything since I've been on town council. The infrastructure committee recommended and the town council approved an additional $200,000 a year in the budget for paving. I think the public needs to know that our intention, and I think the council's intention, is to keep this money in the budget so that we pave all of our streets on a 10-year cycle. So everybody's street will get paved at least once every 10 years. And I think the staff rates the streets, and it's not a political thing, it's a staff rated thing. None of the council members really have anything to do with that. I believe this year, from what I saw, you all are recommending is we're doing the one-way street system here in town, and I believe most of the paving, it goes in Winterham this year. This fall, we'll have another paving program in the spring, and I don't think it's the staff's intention to favor one side of the town or other. You might want to explain why you all are doing that, instead of me.
Well, we get $350,000 from VDOT for maintenance of our paving, and typically when that was just the allotted budget, we had to utilize that in the best way practicable for what VDOT allows us to get reimbursed for. So a lot of those were on arterial roads, on major collectors, things like that that were in need of repair. And I know there are other streets in town that are in need of repair, but in the grand scheme of things, the amount of traffic on the street kind of dictated where we had to put the money. But with the additional money from council, we will be able to get to those local streets more regularly, and we can hopefully spread that over, like I said, a 10-year cycle, try to get everything paved within a 10-year cycle, as well as paving our arterials. What we intend to do is to have the infrastructure committee also review our recommendations, and if there are any additional recommendations about the infrastructure committee, we'll put those into a package, and we'll see what we can get as far as a quote from the paving contractor.
Okay, thank you.
And
Any
then
more
after
questions of Tyler about paving?
And then after 10 years, you start over again, right? I mean, that's not fair.
Oh, by the way, you might want to tell Derek his street in Winterham didn't get paved.
They stopped like 20 feet in front of my house. I am not guilty of any of that.
That's not gonna
It's the
change.
truth, they really did.
I made sure of that.
Thank you for the information, Tom.
Okay, where are we?
Here, we're in Abingdon.
Okay,
Where are we, Jimmy? We're here in Abingdon.
we're here in Abingdon.
Yes.
Okay. Jimmy, do you have any more?
I don't have
report?
anything, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Old business and matters not on the agenda. Council?
I don't have
This
anything.
might be the time for me to bring up our conversation about getting out and
Yeah,
voting.
you need to go ahead with
We
that.
wanted to, Wade and I discussed encouraging the citizens of the town to actually get out and vote. We've had a low turnout in the last few elections. We'd love to see some encouragement and some movement on the part of citizens to the polls. And I hope the town will be able to encourage people to do that. And I would like to actually make a motion to direct the town attorney to research issues related to the town's involvement in voter education and outreach for the November 5th general election, and authorize the town manager to conduct appropriate activities in accordance with the law.
Okay, motion by Mr. Bradley to authorize the town manager to develop a program. I don't know the wordage of it, but anyway.
I'd second that.
Second by Mr. Webb.
Beat me to it.
Any discussion? Okay, Kim, would you call a roll, please?
Mr. Bradley.
Aye.
Ms. Quetch.
Aye.
Mr. Webb.
Aye.
Ms. Patterson.
Aye.
Mayor Craig.
Aye. Thank you very much, Al.
You-
Uh,
We also discussed the possibility of getting buses to run a better circuit on those days, and I think the town manager is going to be looking into that.
Yeah, well, thank you. I think that's a really good idea to get bus service to the park.
It is.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is council member reports.
Need to look at my phone, my calendar.
No, you can't,
Yeah.
Donna won't let you. She's
I'm sorry.
She's the phone police.
Call the police, so I gotta look at it.
Any reports, Cindy?
Can you start with, Mr. Bradley?
Mr. Bradley,
Oh.
you?
Reports. I've been to a lot of meetings, and gee, it sure has been fun.
You've been doing a good job there,
Thank you.
Donna?
No report.
Derek?
I will mention, amongst many meetings, like Al said, that we all regularly attend, I did get the opportunity, along with Donna, no doubt, to go to the Veterans Expo that was hosted at the Higher Ed Center. And I just thought I'd throw a little line out for it. Delegate Pillion and his staff coordinate that event. And I went last year and this year, and it had swelled from, I think, 30-some odd vendors last year to 64 vendors this year. And they even have, they were doing immunizations, health screenings. They even had a mobile VDOT, a DMV truck. I'm sorry, not VDOT. We talked too much about VDOT. But I just thought that was a great event to have in town. It's always very humbling to go to those events and see the veterans and get to see them. There were people apparently waiting 2 hours before it opened just to get in. It was
packed.
It was a packed event, so it was kind of a blessing to go to, but just throwing that out there.
Well, thank you. I want to say this about our town council, that we try to kind of keep tabs and make sure that we're out at these events to let the public know that we're interested in what's going on, and we appreciate the community involvement. We appreciate what they do, and I want to compliment our town council on being present and maintaining a high profile. I want to thank you all for doing that. Cindy, are you ready to report?
Yes, sir, I am. I'd like to also invite everyone to come to the Veterans Park ceremony this year. We're going to be honoring Animals in Service. Always Faithful is going to be our theme in our ceremony, in our ceremonial presentation. and it's on November the 11th, 2019 at 11 o'clock. And we're working on we're trying to find some animals, or dogs actually, that have been in service. It's kind of hard to track those down. So the police department has offered Washington County, and I was going to ask Chief Sullivan back there if he knew of anybody in Abingdon that had a service dog as well.
Not retired dogs, other than the sheriff's office, that's
Mhm.
it.
Well, I think that the sheriff's office, because I wanted to make sure we invited anybody in Abingdon that wanted to go, and the county.
And city of Bristol has canines as well, but I mean, we're still the invitation that far.
We've got some canines, but they're not on the police force, right?
I can bring my basset hound.
No, because she'll get sprayed by a skunk. I'm just kidding, bring her on. But anyway, we have some animals that will be doing some demonstrations, mostly the dogs. There may be some other surprises there, so we hope that you all come and participate on that day. This will be our first, I believe, for that. Also, the Fairview, over at Fairview, about the end of this month, I don't have a date yet. I talked to Mr. Stevenson today, the president of Old Glade Tractor Association, and they're going to be making molasses over at Fairview at the end of this month. And depends on the weather, of course, but he said they'd be making about 2 runs of it. So just want to let the public know about that. And today, I'm happy to report that Mr. Stevenson called me and said that they donated today 300 to 400 pounds of potatoes to Meals on Wheels.
Wow.
And I'm sure that he also donated a whole bunch to Feeding America. And that I'm just really happy that they can do that. That's a wonderful piece of land, and they're working that property and donating it to people in need. So I'll just commend them for what they're doing over there.
I want to let everybody know that Vice Mayor Patterson, when she and I came on to council, the Meals on Wheels program was in the tank, and she's been very instrumental, and the town council has supported it in continuing to assist that program. The Meals on Wheels struggles because the demand has been increasing, and their funding is lagged. But she has done a great job in keeping that, helping to keep that program going. So
Thank you, Mayor
thank
Craig.
you for
And just had a few more things. I've gone to several meetings, just like the rest of my council members have, and I enjoy serving on the town council. I think it's a privilege and an honor.
Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is appointments to boards and committees. Council, there have been some, I call it movement on the tree commission and the Board of Building Code officials, and there have been some applications come in and some to come off. I suggest that we table those two, if it's okay with you all. Can we do it by consensus and bring it up at the next council meeting? Is that okay with everybody? Al?
Which ones were those, Mayor?
The tree commission and the Board of
Building
Building
Code.
Code Appeals.
Hopefully it's fine with me.
All right, Derek? Sure. Okay. All right, then we'll take up the Infrastructure Advisory Committee, which is a new committee. We'll appoint that, and the Sinking Springs Cemetery is a reappointment. Okay.
Mr. Craig, I move that Janet Woolwine, Charlie Fugit, John Dew, Monty Vernon be appointed to serve, and appoint Mayor Craig as the council appointee to the Infrastructure Advisory Committee, and a reappointment of Carrie Tudor for an additional term on the Sinking Springs Cemetery Committee.
Motion by Ms. Quetch. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Webb. Any discussion on those appointments? Kim, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bradley.
Aye.
Ms. Quetch.
Aye.
Mr. Webb.
Aye.
Ms. Patterson.
Aye.
Mayor Craig.
Aye. Okay, is there anything else, guys? I declare this meeting adjourned. I think we did this in record time.
It's gonna be a long night. Why'd you make me eat early dinner?
Wasn't even an
Seriously, I
hour.
snacked beforehand.
We did do record time.
Prognostication.